guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A for you guys. When I got to 20k subscribers a couple of years ago, I did a 20k Q&A, and now 2 years down the line, yes, it has taken me 2 years to get another 10,000 subscribers. Help. I thought I would do a 30k Q&A because why not? So last week I asked you guys to ask me some questions over on one of my Instagram posts, so I'm just going to go through those now and try to answer as many of your questions as possible. Okay, so someone's asked, what's your job? And I guess that would be a good starting point, especially if any of you haven't seen my channel before, have no idea what's going on, who I am, who is this girl, what does she do? I am a professional freerunner, which means that I do freerunning and parkour for a living, which kind of doesn't sound like it makes sense. Like, why on earth would anyone pay you to jump on stuff? But the way that I personally make money is by working on commercial shoots or anything where people need a freerunner, really. It could be a live performance or a music video or a TV show or film. More recently, actually, I've moved over into stunt work a little bit as well, and specifically for me, when I've been asked to do stunt work, often that's involved wire work. So that's something where I'm in a harness and I'm on a wire and I'm being flung through the air essentially. So that is what I do as a job. Okay, so I've had a few people asking what made me start freerunning or what got me into freerunning. So when I was at university, I was doing cheerleading, and the gymnastics club that I was going to work on my tumbles and flips and things like that was Southampton Gymnastics Club. Southampton Gymnastics Club. There are lots of M's and N's in that, and they all got a bit tangled up when I tried to say them. So I would go along to Southampton Gymnastics Club, and the other guys who were training there were mainly freerunners or trickers, and I just became friends with those guys really, and they showed me a thing or two. They were like, why don't you try and run up this wall and do a wall flip, or swing on this bar and do a swing gainer, you know, that kind of thing. I had actually tried parkour once before that when I was about 17, 18, something like that. I did dancing, and one of the acts in one of the dance shows I was in was a parkour act, and I became friends with those guys and went and met up with them once in Bournemouth and went out and trained with them. But it wasn't really training, I mainly just sat on a wall and stretched and tried to climb up. Ever thought of quitting parkour / freerunning due to injury or not progressing? If yes, then how did you take over your thoughts? I don't think I've ever seriously thought about quitting. I've definitely had sessions though where I've been super frustrated and I felt like, do you know what, I'm not progressing at all anymore, I'm just getting worse and worse, I can't do anything, I quit. And I have moments where I really feel for a split second like, that's it, I give up. And then like 30 seconds later, I'm trying it again and I've got over it. So I don't think I've ever really seriously had a moment where I felt like I'm gonna quit. And although I have had injuries here and there, none of them have sort of been so drastic that they would put an end to my career. So in that sense, I've been fairly fortunate. But yeah, I've never really seriously thought about quitting. A few people have asked about where I train, so where I usually train in London or where my favourite place to train in England is. I think I might do a separate video on that though, so if you don't mind waiting for answers to those questions, I think I'm going to do that as like a separate thing. Maybe. Sometimes I say that I'm going to do something though and I don't, but I'm hoping to make that a little separate video, so watch this space. But not too carefully because it might not happen. How did you get your first sponsor and which one was it? So I'm actually not sponsored. I've never really had a proper sponsor at all. I do wish that sponsorship deals were easier to come by in freerunning, and I know some people have managed to do really well off sponsorship, but personally I've not been so lucky in that department. But who knows, maybe one day I'll find a sponsor who I'm really happy to work with, because I have been offered sponsorship deals in the past, but for whatever reason I didn't feel like they were the right brand for me to work with, or I wasn't really happy with what they were offering. You know, it's got to be the right deal, and when I've been offered deals in the past, they haven't been for me. But hopefully maybe this year the right one will come along. That would be really nice. Was it annoying on Ninja Warrior when you went out on the ring toss part because you smashed it out in China? Yes! This was so frustrating, and it's one of those things that I replayed over and over in my mind for months and months afterwards. I have just about got over it now. Just about. But having said that, I was really not very well prepared for that season of Ninja Warrior. I had been out of training for months with an injury, and I'd only just started getting back into training, and I very seriously contemplated. I'm really getting my M's and N's mixed up today. Contemplated. Oh my goodness. Brain, wake up! I really seriously contemplated not even competing in that season. So I guess, although it was really frustrating to go out on an obstacle I know I could do, I could have also predicted that I wasn't going to do too well in that season anyway. And I didn't. I went out in the heat. So it was frustrating, but I could have predicted it, so meh. Peyton asked, hi Peyton by the way, hope you're really well, why don't you compete much anymore? I've actually never really competed much in free running. I'm not 100% sure why that is. I think where I did so much competing in my childhood, I have quite a negative feeling towards competitions. Not in the sense that I think that free running shouldn't be a competitive sport. I actually think that's great that it has become so competitive. But for me personally, when I think about competing, I don't feel like, oh yay, a competition. I feel like, oh my goodness, competing. Ugh, butterflies, I feel sick. I don't want to do it. Ugh. That's how I feel when I think about a competition. But having said that, I think I would like to start competing a little bit more this year. But actually, to be honest with you, the main reason I probably haven't competed is because whenever big competitions have come up that I have been asked to go along and compete at, they've clashed with jobs that I've had going on. So at the moment, where I'm not sponsored, no one's paying me just to train and go and compete. If I have a commercial shoot come along that is going to pay me, I kind of need to take that over going and competing and hanging out with my friends, which is a shame, but that's just the way it is right now. Who knows, maybe that will change one day, we'll see. Then my sisters asked 3 questions. So Spider-Man or Iron Man? I'd have to go Spider-Man. Would you rather travel to Moon or Mars? Maybe the Moon? Can you travel to Mars? I don't know. You don't even care about the answer, you're just trolling me. Who is your favourite sister? Okay, you're definitely trolling me now. When will you be coming to Mauritius? Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how much I would love to be in Mauritius right now. I really just want to go somewhere super hot. Although saying that, we have actually had a really nice couple of weeks here in the UK, but not quite as nice as I imagine it is in Mauritius right now. I would love to go. I have no immediate plans to, but at some point I would love to go. And on the topic of travelling, someone's asked, since you've travelled a lot, what is one place that you would advise anyone to visit? That's such a hard question. It's so difficult when people ask. Good, the builders next door have started. Whenever anyone asks me about my favourite place I've ever been or stuff like that, it's like, but for what? Like, for nice beaches or for good training spots or cool city with cool buildings? Like, what do you want? But maybe just off the top of my head right now, I would say New York City. I absolutely love New York, especially actually in winter. I've been there at various times of year, and I think there was something so nice about being there in winter when it was snowing and there was steam rising out of the grates in the floor just like it does in the movies, and I walked through Central Park in the snow, and I really felt like I was on a movie, and it was just very, very cool. And if you get the chance to experience that, you should definitely take it. What is the model of Asics you're wearing in the picture? That's this picture here. I believe they are Onitsuka Tiger Shore Runners. I think if you just put in Asics Shore Runners, they should come up. Or Onitsuka. How do we say this? Onitsuka? How do we even say Asics? Is it Asics or Asics? Why can't I say the words? Ooh! Is it hard to do free running as a woman? Well, I guess so, yeah. But I think it's probably also quite hard as a man if you've never done it before. But obviously, the more you work at it, the easier it becomes. I don't know, it is a hard question though, because obviously there are biological differences between men and women, and that might mean that women have to work a little bit harder to get to the same place as men, perhaps. Although I think the biggest part of it is probably mentally, because there is this image that women aren't going to be as strong, they're not going to be as capable. So a woman coming in at the same playing level, let's just say level. A woman coming in at the same level as a man who are both starting free running for the first time, the woman's probably mentally set a lot further back than the guy, and that's quite sad, but that's how it is, unfortunately, I think, still at this moment in time. But let's try and change that, please. Women are so capable. And yeah. Yes. Next question. What's your weakness? Not only in training. One thing I'm really bad at, actually, and I really need to get better at, is replying to people's messages. Oh my goodness, I suck. I suck so much at getting back to people's messages, and it's really rude and it's not okay and it needs to change. Honestly, I can leave someone's message unread for weeks before I remember about it and remember to reply, and that's terrible. I think it's often I'm quite busy doing something, which obviously everyone is, this is not an excuse. I'll be quite busy doing something and I'll see a message pop up and it will be about, am I available like next week or something, and I have no idea what my plans are for next week. So I think, okay, I'll leave that until I know what's going on, and then I leave it and forget to ever reply. It's not okay. And also chocolate is a big weakness of mine, to be honest. And now I'm thinking about chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna have to have some chocolate after this. Speaking of chocolate, someone's asked, what do I usually eat? Chocolate. Just kidding. And what's my favourite dish? Okay, so I'm pescatarian. I was vegetarian for 4 years, and this year in 2018 I started eating fish just to give myself more options. It became a little bit difficult with travelling. I'm also allergic to nuts, so sometimes my options were pretty limited, so I started having a little bit of fish. But what's my favourite dish? Speaking of fish, I actually really love sushi, so maybe sushi, or I'm also a sucker for a big carb meal, like pizza or pasta or something like that. Love it. And then obviously chocolate as well. How much will it take for an amateur to do stunts like you? Do you mean stunts as in stunt work, like doing stunts on a movie? Or do you mean stunts like the tricks that I do? And also, what level of amateur do you mean? Do you mean someone who is already a really good free runner but they're just not working professionally? Or do you mean someone who's just a beginner? I need more information to answer this question. If you're saying that you're a beginner, like an amateur who's really just starting out, and you want to know how to get to the level where you can do the same sort of tricks and things that I do, then it's really just a case of a lot of hard work, a lot of hours of training, really pushing yourself to be the best athlete you can be. That's what it takes. But if you're meaning more how do you take it to the next level and be professional, like working on commercials and films, that kind of thing, then that's really a case of getting your name out there as much as possible. So assuming you're already a really good free runner but you want to be able to work on commercials, then you need to make sure that people know who you are. You need to maybe think about getting yourself on an agency or going along to open castings. You need to do a little bit of legwork yourself for that one, and post the Instagrams, obviously. What do you think about FIG and parkour becoming an Olympic sport? Controversial questions right there. Actually, I have to say I do think it would be awesome if parkour became an Olympic sport. I know that some people will hate on me for that a little bit, but I just think it would open up so many opportunities for parkour athletes, sponsorship opportunities, and also just having more of a platform to show who we are and what we do. I think that would be pretty cool. I'm not sure if we have a competition structure in place yet that would be suitable for the Olympics, but who knows? Maybe there's someone putting that structure in place as we speak. In fact, I'm sure there probably is. However, I don't necessarily think that should be through FIG, but saying that, that is literally just my gut instinct. I haven't researched this enough to be able to give a definite, yes, I think this or that kind of answer, because the only information I've had has been from people going on Facebook rants or Instagram rants and putting up posts about it. So I've kind of kept out of it a little bit. Not because I don't think it's important, but just because I've been busy. My time has been spent elsewhere, and I don't think I'm the sort of person who's going to make those calls anyway in the end. So sorry to be such a little fence sitter, but I'm going to sit here on my fence. Okay, last question. I think you must have great parents. I do. How did you know that though? But yes, I do. So what is one bit of advice they gave you when you were growing up that you will always remember? I'm sure my parents must have given me loads of advice over the years. Just sorry, I've got such a horrible frog in my throat, but this is the last question. I can't be bothered to go down and get a drink of water just to answer one last question, so we'll just deal with this froggy voice for my final answer. Yeah, I can't think of one specific piece of advice they ever gave me. One thing I would say though is that they always really encouraged me to do what I was passionate about. So for example, when I finished uni and decided that I wanted to pursue a career in freerunning, they were all for that, and they really, really encouraged it, in fact, where I think a lot of parents might have been a bit like, no, you should apply for grad schemes like everyone else, or go into a career that's more suited to your degree that you've just spent years earning. But my parents were always really encouraging when it came to me trying to pursue free running as a career. So although that's not really a piece of advice, I feel like, well, I guess it kind of is. It's like they advised me to pursue my passion and follow my dreams. What a nice note to end this video on. Follow your dreams, guys. Unless your dreams are like highly illegal or something, and then maybe don't, I don't know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!